Welcome all. I hope the sound is okay. It's a bit windy in the garden studio today. Today's live will be a bit different. We will have a look at some flat Earth stupidity, but I will also show you some editing of images. So if you have any questions about editing or when I'm showing, shout out in the side chat and I will try to explain or answer your questions. Torsten, it's nice in the garden. It's quite warm today, but I'm sitting under a tree and the wind is blowing a bit. I think it's 25 degrees warm, but in the shadow with some wind, it's perfect. As I mentioned before, we passed 4,300 euros that are sent to Ukraine. So big thanks to all of you. The first pool we will have a quick look on is I take away myself. If you wait a little bit only. Close some windows.
It has to be contained.
Okay, let's take it from the beginning. This is the latest video that one of my favorite fools, Dirt, David Wise, have published. In previous videos, I mentioned that he's recycling only old garbage, and I will only show a little bit, a small part of this video, because you have seen it before.
It has to be contained. What are you laughing about? You think this is a joke? You know what the Bible says about people who lie to kids, Danny? What does the Bible say about people who lie to kids, Danny? What does it say? You know? Do you know the scriptures? What it says about people who lie to kids? And who have observatories and PhDs about lying to children, Danny? What does it say? What does it say happens to them? It says it would be better if a millstone were tied around their neck and they jumped off a bridge. So if you're lying to kids, the Bible says you should go kill yourself.
This video I've seen before. I'm sure that you also seen it before. I think it disgusting, and this fool is showing it as some kind of evidence for the flat Earth. I think it's quite typical flerf. They are fools. It's only water, if you're wondering. But the next one I think is a bit funny.
I'm not trying to make fun of anyone here, so please forgive me as I say a few stereotypical things really quick. When I think of the term nerd, the stereotypical teacher's pet comes to my mind, who works really hard in school, has perfect grades on everything, has to make honor roll, has to make valedictorian, etc., practically memorizes their textbooks, eats and breathes the stuff, and never questions a thing they say. And then you get someone who walks along and takes a look at the world and says, "You know, I think our textbooks could be wrong. I think the world could be flat." They don't even have to say it is flat. They could just speculate and say, "I think it could be flat."
As you see, this is the latest masterpiece from Kyle Adams. This is so damn stupid. But
You know, I think our textbooks could be wrong. I think the world could be flat. They don't even have to say it is flat. They could just speculate and say, "I think it could be flat." Then one or multiple straight A students hear you say that. Some at varying stages in life. Some even retired with one or more PhDs under their belt. When they hear you say that, suddenly their heads turn violently. "What? How dare you say such a thing?" And they get really offended over just a passing thought. And I'm like, whoa, slow down, calm down here. Since when is it a crime to question things? That could be where much of the big flat earth versus anti-flat earth rivalry comes from.
he's he's a science denier, and he can't admit it. So he knows nothing about science. He believes that the Bible tells us that the earth is flat. Oh dear. So this is the latest videos of two of the flerfs that I cover a lot. You see the problem. Nothing new on Platardia. So let's move on to editing instead. I have to arrange my windows a bit. Hold on. I'm using Photoshop. What I will talk about, you can do in other editing softwares, and many of these techniques you can do in other ways. I will use some images from my photo workshops in Lofoten, Norway. So let's start. First of all, the techniques I will show you is based on the fact that the camera can't portray what you're seeing perfectly. You have a bigger dynamic range in your eye. The image I'm showing on the screen now is one exposure. The difference between the light parts and the darker parts is not so big, so it was no problem to capture this scene in one exposure. But if you take another example, if I take Bridge is only a software used for catalog function. If you use Lightroom, this function is included. I will select, we will see them better. I open in camera raw because all of these photos is taken in raw. It's not an image. Raw is not a real image format. It's a format where you we are able to capture all information that reach the sensor. Here I have taken 2 exposures of the same. So in they often call this function in cameras per bracket, for instance. So I have taken this one. The first one is overexposed. You see it's a bit dark. The next one is in the middle, more normal exposed. And the third one, this one, is overexposed. So why do I do this? If you look at this one, this is the same problem as in my last live. I talked about the image used by Dirt showing the ship in the sky. If you look at the sky here, you don't see any clouds at all. It's way too bright. I have the sun behind the bigger mountain to the left side. And here, when I have more structure, I see more of the sky. In this exposure, the mountain to the left is too dark. So the technique is called HDR, high dynamic range. So I will take those 3 images. Now, sorry, this my Photoshop is in Swedish, so it says combined to HDR. Then camera raw makes 1 image of it. Now I only use the standard settings for it. Save it. So the one on the screen now, each is the combined image. If you look at that one and compare with the darker one, I have the sky and it's lighter, the mountain. Here I can start adjusting, but I will show one more technique. So only with this step I have a better balanced image when it comes to light. So if I open it in Photoshop, okay. How I get 3 images? I didn't have any tripod. I used it on freehand, and many cameras can take this bracket images. So as I described, 1 underexposed, 1 normal exposed, 1 overexposed. So they take it as a series in a quick pace, and the softwares, Lightroom, Photoshop and so on, they can put them together even if you don't have been so steady. You have to be quite steady, but this image was taken on freehand without any tripod or any help. I will show the technique that I used when I edited the image Dirt used. This is what I've shown last live stream. First of all, if an image is built of, or it's RGB, it's 3 base colors: red, green and blue. So in English this would called channels, color channels. In Swedish it's kanaler. Okay, now I will look for the one. This is the blue channel, this is the green channel, and this is the red channel. What I'm looking for is to find the one that it differs more between the sky and the rest, so I can separate the different parts of the image to adjust only, for instance, the sky. So if I'm looking for one of those color channels that would help me to start, it's not so big difference. If I take this one, I take the red one. I make a copy of it. Duplicate channel. Hello? So, and I will give it some kind of name. So, when I have this channel, I want to make the darker part darker and the lighter part lighter. So, if I use levels, for instance, this is the black point. You soon will understand why I do this. And I take the white point. You see, now the sky is completely white. Okay, I'm satisfied with that one. I will select all and copy. And then I have to turn off this new layer I made, or the new channel I meant. And then I make a new adjustment layer. This time I'm choosing curves. And this white one is what you call a mask. And mask is used in many editing software. So I paste the information from the channel. A mask is always black and white, or you can also use grayscales. So the adjustment I want to do will not have effect on the part of the image that are black. So to make this better, normally I use a pen when I'm editing this, what I call it, this type of tables with a pen, that digital pen, but I will do it with the mouse. So I take a black pencil. Why it's stuck here? Oh, sorry. So this part I will paint black. this can be quite time consuming, but I will make it quick and dirty to demonstrate what I'm talking about. Yes, thank you, Dora. I think so too. Okay, then no. I don't know if you're familiar with curves. This one is black, and this is white. So I will move this a bit. So if you look at the sky, I can adjust only the sky. So often, to make more contrast, it can be helpful with making a slight S curve on it. So thank you, Dora. So if here you can see I turn off the adjustment layer and I turn it on. So this is what I was talking about. So this is a quite simple workflow to make better images. I haven't read your comments, so I can use this for other things, like if I choose, I can oh, wrong way. No, I did it wrong way again. No, it was the other way. It's the other way around, right? So in this, so now I'm using for this. Now I can do a color correction to the sky. The arrow here on the layers means that I'm using the same mask as the adjustment layer below. I did it the wrong way first. So you see here I can work with the blue in the sky. So if you see here now, this was before adjustments, and this is with the adjustment layers. And here we have a problem. If we look at the image here, you see that's not correct. So I select the mask again, a black pencil, because the mask wasn't black at that place. And the same you see here. When the mask is not perfect, you can get this type of effects. I will not adjust the whole, but you see I have adjusted parts of the image that I didn't want to adjust, but it's to refine the mask. You'll get rid of those kind of problems. So this is some basic simple adjustments that can be used for getting better images if you have problems with the light and so on. Torsten, yes, the masks. You can also use masks in video editing, but then you have to connect them to parts of the frame, so the mask is following it. For instance, you can see on television sometimes they can hide advertisement on clothes and so on, but then they will make it like a object that moves, the mask which moves with the person. Dora, you don't and you have, for instance, in Lightroom or easier, you often can do this type of adjustments with pencils instead. You have adjustment brushes, I meant, but it's, if you're working to get a good image that you want to print in a big format, it's easier to get a perfect result with Photoshop, because you have full control over the mask in other way than in the more simple. Yes, Dora, because if you think on the difference between photos and video is a lot of photos in 25, 30, 50 frames per second. So it's in reality it's only a lot of photos. So basically you can make the same adjustments on video as you can on photos, but the problem is the part with tracking. Take care, dog. Thank you for stopping by. This was a test in some ways, because I haven't done this before, but I'm planning to have this in most of my live streams, apart when I show how to make things in photos, videos and so on. So I hope you find it interesting. I will also show how to use cameras and so on in upcoming videos. So I will try to make a segment in most of my live streams when I do this type of things. So, that was what I have planned for today. Tomorrow night I will go away again working, and I will be away for 2 weeks. So at the moment I'm making some videos that will be published when I'm away. Perhaps I can do some new content during these 2 weeks. It depends on my schedule. But Dora, it's if you forget, it's only to ask. So that was what I had today.
I'm not trying to make fun of anyone here, so please forgive me as I say a few stereotypical things really quick.
So
When I think of the term nerd,
I hope
the
you liked it.
stereotypical
I
teacher's
hope
pet
you
comes to
find
my
it
mind,
interesting.
who works
And
really
I
hard in
hope
school,
that you will
has perfect grades
tell
on
me
everything,
what you want to learn.
has to
if
make
it's
honor roll,
something
has to make
regarding,
valedictorian, etc.
photography, filmmaking,
Practically memorizes their
editing
textbooks,
you're wondering about.
eats and
It's only
breathes
to
the stuff, and
start
never
out,
questions
and
a
I
thing they
will
say.
bring it up.
And then you get
on
someone who
upcoming
walks along
episodes
and takes a look at
and
the
live
world and
streams.
says, you know, I think our textbooks could be wrong.
And
I think the
once
world could be
again,
flat.
a big thank you to all
They
of
don't
you
even have to say
that
it
are
is flat. They could just
helping me,
speculate
helping
and say,
Ukraine
I
with,
think it could be
memberships, super chats,
then one or
donation
multiple
on
straight A
PayPal,
students
and
hear
so
you
on.
say that. Some
I'm
at
proud
varying
of
stages in
what we
life.
achieved.
Some even retired with 1 or more
I hope
PhDs under their belt.
Money will make a change.
When they hear you say that, suddenly their heads turn
Okay.
violently.
That was all for
What?
this time.
How
I
dare
will
you
start
say
the
such a
extra,
thing?
And see you soon.
And they get really offended.
Bye.